Yeah.
Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. If you've seen my previous video, you know I had a lot of activity this weekend built around this road race. Most of that activity was centered around the advertising of the race that I'm going to be putting on, the Kingsburg Criterium, in mid-April at this well-attended road race. As far as I could tell, there were about 461 registrations. With a few no-shows, I'll say there were about 450 riders. But enough about that. Let's talk about the road race here. There were close to 40 riders in this 55 plus category. And of course, most of them are strong. There were a number of strong teams out there with Thirsty Bear, Cal Nats, and Sierra Nevada Reliable Racing. My team off the front is represented by two riders, myself and Gilberto. He is 68 and a very strong rider. We did 3 laps on a 20-mile loop, and this was one of the flattest road races I've ever been in. There's one section that does have a King of the Mountain, which is kind of rolling, which rolls up to the major roll, which is going to be the actual King of the Mountain. With so many strong riders and teams represented, Gilberto and I were limited to looking for opportunities. With somewhat narrow roads and a centerline rule in effect, I would not be able to see what was going on at the front unless I was at the front. Be that as it was, I just had to be patient. I couldn't cover everything. As it turned out, I happened upon the wheel of one of the strongest riders in the pack, Larry Nolan from the Cal Nats racing team. I figured since I wasn't at the front, this would be a good place to be. As I peer between the riders ahead of me, I see there is a break that is established up ahead. It seems to me that Larry may be thinking about jumping across, so I'm going to stick with him. If he does bridge across and I'm able to ride his wheel up there, that'll put me in a much nicer position. As it turns out, riding his wheel was not in the cards. To show you how much stronger Larry Nolan is than I am, we pretty much jumped together, and within seconds he was multiple bike lengths in front of me. So now I'm chasing, I'm committed. I don't know who's behind me, but I'm guessing they're chasing. I don't think they're on my wheel just yet. I'm hoping that once Larry gets up there, he does not counter them, causing them to chase. That gives me a chance to get on their wheel before we start forming a working group. As it turned out, once I bridged, I saw that the pack was pretty much right on my wheel. So this would be a good time to counterattack. But I don't see anybody immediately jumping. As it turns out, one of the people that were in the break thought this is also going to be a great time to counterattack and starts to roll off. Larry signals to one of his teammates to get into that break. My teammate, Gilberto, is to my left and he's boxed in. Unfortunately, he's not able to connect as the break starts to form. At the start of the race, as part of our pre-race talk from the refs warned us that the pavement was going to be fair to good. Well, good was a good description, but the fair maybe was a little generous. As we turn on to the fair part of the road, one can see that the asphalt had degraded a long time ago and that there's a number of potholes. Now the potholes are marked with green arrows, but I'm not able to see them at this time. Being tightly packed on these farm roads going at the speed we're going, I'm not seeing any green markings until later laps. All I care about is not flatting and not crashing on any of the potholes. When I was talking to the promoter after the race and we were talking about the roads, he had stated he had called the county to get some of those holes filled in. But it's a low priority, there's not a lot of traffic out here. State money supposedly earmarked for road repair goes actually into the general fund, so who knows where it goes to. California then raises the gas tax to get more repair money, so we can only hope. This is just a little California politics tidbit for those of my subscribers that live outside of the state. Okay, back to the race. So pretty much in these rough roads, I'm staying toward the front and toward the outside so I can see what's going on. Once we get back on the good roads later on in the lap, a moto comes up and says that the breakaway is about now a minute ahead of us. Once we are back on the fair roads again, we are now on truly fair roads, so not like the roads that we were on previously. We are heading toward the KOM and then toward the end of the lap. As we are approaching the KOM, the roads start to get a little rolling, and the speed starts to pick up. I start to get stretched during crunch times, and I'm finding myself drifting back a place or two at each roll. I am finding that there are gaps that are forming in front of me and riders in front of me that I'm not able to fill. I'm also thinking this is just the first of 3 times I'm going to be going up this section. I am also just hoping that everyone else is hurting as much as I am on this. As it turns out, I was able to stay connected, barely, at the KOM. Right after the KOM, we took that famous right turn. Famous because of what you've seen on previous videos. While I did not crash, my camera did. And as we all know, the Cycling Greek needs his camera. After I picked up my camera, I was solo and off the back. I came upon a rider from my category that was just finishing fixing his flat, so I went off with him and then we picked up another rider. I was still able to get a good workout in with us doing a chase mode, steady pull-through kind of thing. Unfortunately, that just lasted the one lap. As the other riders pulled in after 2 laps, we bid adieu and I continued on my 3rd lap. And that went much slower because there was a lot more wind that was picking up and I was getting tired. To keep myself occupied, I was pretty much telling the same joke at every corner as I passed. You're probably noticing that I'm a little slower than last time. While I'm telling it about 5 or 6 times, each person that's hearing it is hearing it for the first time and they're getting a chuckle. My spirits did pick up when I attached onto the back of a passing P12 group. Now, they weren't happy I was there, they waved me off, and then off the back I went again. As I passed that corner where my camera took a dump, I noticed that they had moved the cones out and actually put a cone on that particular chuck hole that I went over. It was good to see that the course marshals were on it. In fact, the entire race organization did a great job from beginning to end. It was just those bad road sections. I hope you enjoyed this video. There are more coming. Remember, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.